if we dig into some of the rules, and there are only seven, so we should be able to get through them. But the first one is get out of your own way. And I was just curious about what you meant by that, and and then to kind of follow up on it, what do people find most difficult in putting themselves like in a scenario where they're willing to do whatever it takes to progress?
There are many ways in which we get in our own way. One is to use self-deprecating comments, which is, I think, more common for women than for men, but it's common for both. People say, pardon me for interrupting, or I'm not sure this idea I'm about to express is such a good one. Golda Meir, the late Israeli prime minister, had this wonderful quote that Robert Cialdini put me onto, don't be so modest, you're not that good. So I think you should not begin by apologizing for interjecting your ideas, or for apologizing for being who you are. I think that's one way in which we get on our own way. Another way in which we get in our own way is that we are reluctant to risk being disliked. And so people are very worried about what others think about them, rather than being worried about being effective. And in fact, what your job is in life is not to win some popularity contest, but to make things happen. And so that is another way in which we get in our own way. And yet another way in which we get in our own way is not being willing to do the things that our opponents are willing to do. And the simple, funny example I use about that is men's soccer. If you watch professional soccer like Barcelona or Cristiano Ronaldo or any of the world's great soccer players, they are very good at drawing fouls. You barely touch them and they fall to the ground and it looks like they've been, killed or whatever. And U.S. men's soccer is reluctant to do that. And, I think the analogy for many organizational practices are that people who are really interested in rising to the top and having power often are willing to do tactics that some people say, I won't do that. Well, that's okay if you don't want to do it, but you need to understand that if you're not willing to do what your opponents are willing to do, you may put yourself at a substantial disadvantage.
And